Nick, I don't think I've ever asked you this. I know the DBs would get out of you being involved in the drills. What do you get out of that when you're doing that? A lot of head coaches obviously walking around and doing things, but you're always involved every day. What do you get out of that?
Well, look, I don't think that when I was growing up in West Virginia, that there was no diagnosis for attention deficit. You know, there was none. So I probably have it. So if I'm not doing something, I'm not busy, I'm not shaking my leg. Terry punches me in church for shaking my leg. She punches me in church because when I'm standing up, I'm rocking like this. All right, so I would say that I probably have some deficit in some way, all right, that has never been diagnosed. So it's a way that I keep myself busy. It's a way that I feel like I contribute to help the players. I've told this story many times before. Buddy Ryan was a good friend. I used to go when he was a coordinator at the Bears and I was at Michigan State. As a coordinator, I would go visit the Bears. So he became a friend. And when he became a head coach, we played him when I was in Cleveland at the Browns, when I was a defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick. And he was having a bad season and everybody thought he was going to get fired, and it was toward the end of the season. And I went out and talked to him in pregame and I said, buddy, what's the biggest difference between being a head coach and being an assistant? And he said, I was always somebody's best assistant. And he didn't say that in an arrogant way, all right? And he said, I was not my best assistant. So what I learned from that is, you know, he was the best defensive coordinator in the history of ball, probably, and had the best defense in the NFL in the history of ball and gave up the fewest points. So if you become a head coach, why would you contribute in the area that you have the most expertise rather than let somebody else or allow somebody else to do it? That's what I took from it. So I was always a secondary coach. I was a secondary coach when there was nobody. There was 31 teams that had walk-around coordinators, and I was the only one to coach a position, and that was the DBs. So I've always liked it. I've done it everywhere I've been. I did it in Miami. I think the way ball is now, it's hard just to have one secondary coach. You need to split up a lot. We can only have a limited number of coaches. We don't have two secondary coaches, so for me to be somebody's GA in the secondary is probably, you know, helpful. I enjoy it with the players. I enjoy the relationships. I enjoy the relationships with all the players, but I don't root for the defense. I don't root for the DBs. I look at everything objectively from a team standpoint. I want us to do well on offense as well as defense, but I feel like I can make the best contribution to the team in that area on defense and on special teams. So that's where I've tried to spend most of my time, and I enjoy it. I like it. I don't think I think I'd be bored to death standing watching. I'm not criticizing anybody that ever stood in a tower, but I would have a hard time getting through practice that way.
Come up here to Reiner. We'll do about 3 more.
Your program has recently had graduate transfers and some JUCO transfers, but it's been a long time since you guys have had an undergraduate scholarship transfer. Why is that the case?
Undergraduate scholarship transfer. We have had undergraduate scholarship transfers. Kendall Sheffield transferred last year.
He's talking coming in coach.
Talking about what?
Come to your program.
From where?
From somewhere else, from another school. I think the last one was like Phelan Jones is what he's talking about, somebody transferring into here.
Oh, well, you know, we usually don't have any room. You know, if you got 85 guys on scholarship, that's all you can have. Last year was actually the first year for a long time. I have to look at the record book, but that we did not have 85 guys on scholarship because of the attrition that we had with some of the guys that left. And, you know, if those guys were here now, they'd probably start. So they left, went somewhere and sat out, or went to junior college, and now they're going someplace else, but they'd be starting here now if they'd stayed here. So and I don't understand why, but it's not my choice, it's not my decision. We only try to provide the best possible support for the players that are here when they're here and help them be successful every way that we can.